Hey, you're Megan, right? That's how it all started. Me, a librarian with a love for quiet evenings and books, and him, Alex, an economist with a sharp mind and an even sharper tongue. We were at this billiards club downtown, a place more accustomed to clinking glasses and raucous laughter than fairy tale meetings. But there we were. Alex was leaning against the pool table, chalk in hand, looking every bit the confident man he was. His friends were egging him on, making a ruckus every time he pocketed a ball. I was there with my own crew, having a laugh, trying to unwind after a long week shelving books and answering never-ending queries about the latest bestseller. My friend, Jenna, nudged me, a mischievous glint in her eye. "Bet you can't beat that guy," she said, pointing at Alex. I rolled my eyes. "Oh, please, I'm here to relax, not show off my surprisingly decent pool skills." But Jenna wouldn't have it. "Come on, Megan. Don't be a chicken. Plus, he's cute." I sighed, downed my drink, and sauntered over. "Hey, you up for a challenge?" I asked, trying not to sound too eager. Alex looked me up and down, a smirk playing on his lips. "Sure, but fair warning, I don't go easy on anyone." I chuckled, "Neither do I." The game was on. It was a close call, but guess what? I won. His friends hooted and hollered, while Alex just stared in disbelief. "Damn, you're good," he admitted, extending his hand. "I'm Alex." I shook his hand, feeling the firm grip. "Megan. And thanks, I know." We grabbed drinks, and the conversation flowed as easily as the beer. He told me about his job, how he crunches numbers and deals with corporate bigwigs. I told him about the library, the silence, and my secret love for old mystery novels. "So, a librarian, huh? That's different," he said, raising an eyebrow. "Yeah, well, I like it. Books are simpler than people," I replied, taking a sip of my drink. Alex laughed. "I can imagine. But you seem to handle people pretty well too." The evening rolled on, and before I knew it, I was agreeing to see him again. It was crazy, unexpected, but exciting. A few weeks later, he introduced me to his parents. His dad, George, was a soft-spoken man with a warm smile. His mom, Linda, was all charm and grace, or so it seemed. "Nice to finally meet you, Megan. Alex hasn't stopped talking about the girl who beat him at pool," Linda said, her voice dripping with something I couldn't quite place. I smiled, trying to keep it polite. "Well, it was just a lucky shot." "Oh, I doubt that," Linda said, her eyes sharp. "Alex isn't easily beaten." The evening passed with more small talk, a few laughs, and a sense that maybe, just maybe, this was the start of something good. If only I knew then what was lurking beneath those polite smiles and casual conversations. After a few blissful months, Alex and I found ourselves seated at his parents' dining table for a family dinner. It was supposed to be a regular evening, good food, a bit of wine, and casual conversation. But, oh, how wrong I was. Linda, always the hostess, had laid out an impressive spread. Roast chicken, veggies, and all the trimmings. George, as usual, was quiet but had a welcoming smile. The evening started off well enough, with light banter and updates about our lives. Then, as we were digging into dessert, Linda turned to Alex, her tone casual yet loaded. "So, Alex, now that you're married, how much will you be sending us each month?" I nearly choked on my pie. Alex put down his fork, his face a mixture of surprise and discomfort. "Mom, what do you mean? Megan and I have our expenses, and we haven't really discussed." Linda cut him off, her voice sharp. "Well, you've been helping out with our bills, haven't you? It's only right you continue. After all, family supports each other." I glanced at Alex, unsure of how to react. This was new to me. Alex never mentioned any financial help to his parents. George tried to intervene, his voice gentle. "Linda, let's not discuss this at the dinner table." But Linda was relentless. "No, George, this is important. We need to know. We have our expenses, and Alex has always helped." Alex cleared his throat, trying to keep the peace. Mom, things have changed. Megan and I have our own family to think about now. I can't promise anything regular. Linda's face turned red, her eyes blazing. Changed? So, what? We're not family anymore. Is that it? You get a wife, and suddenly your parents don't matter. I was stunned. This wasn't the Linda I met a few months back. This was someone else, someone consumed by greed and anger. Mom, that's not fair. You know I care about you and Dad, but I have responsibilities, Alex said, his voice firm yet calm. Linda slammed her hand on the table. Responsibilities? To her? She pointed at me, her words like daggers. What has she done for you? We raised you, and this is how you repay us? By abandoning us for some librarian. I felt a knot in my stomach. This wasn't just about money, it was personal. I tried to speak up. Linda, I don't think. Stay out of this, she snapped. This is between me and my son. You're just the parasite who's taking him away from his family. The air in the room was thick with tension. George reached for Linda's hand, trying to calm her. Linda, please, let's not say things we'll regret. But Linda was beyond reason. Regret? The only regret here is that my son married someone who's now taking him away from his duties as a son. Alex stood up, his chair scraping against the floor. Mom, that's enough. You're being unreasonable and insulting. I won't let you talk to Megan like that. The rest of the evening was a blur. We left soon after, the sound of Linda's angry rants echoing in our ears. The weeks following that disastrous dinner were tough. Linda's words hung over our heads like a dark cloud. One Saturday morning, as we sipped our coffee, Alex broke the silence. Megan, I'm sorry about all this. I never expected my mom to go off the rails like that. I put down my cup, meeting his gaze. Alex, it's not your fault, but we can't pretend everything's fine. Your mom, she's got some serious issues with us. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. I know. I've been thinking, maybe we should lay low for a while. Avoid any family gatherings. I nodded, though a part of me felt uneasy. Avoiding the problem wouldn't make it disappear. Things took a turn for the worse when Linda started dropping by unannounced. It was like she was on a mission to find faults. One afternoon, she barged in as I was rearranging the living room. What's all this? She snapped, eyeing the new curtains and cushions. I forced a smile, just sprucing up the place a bit. Linda snorted. With what money? Alex's. I clenched my jaw. Actually, I bought these. With my own money. She scoffed, looking around with a critical eye. Must be nice, spending money on frivolous things while your husband's parents struggle. Before I could respond, Alex walked in. Mom, what are you doing here? Linda turned to him, her voice laced with accusation. Just seeing how my son's hard-earned money is being wasted. Alex's face hardened. Mom, this has to stop. Megan's not wasting anything. She's entitled to buy whatever she wants with her money. The argument escalated, with Linda hurling insults and Alex trying to defend me. It was exhausting, watching the two most important people in my life at each other's throats. After Linda stormed out, Alex slumped onto the sofa, his face in his hands. I don't know what to do, Megan. She's my mom, but I can't let her treat you like this. I sat beside him, my heart heavy. We'll figure it out, Alex. But we can't let her walk all over us. Maybe it's time we set some boundaries. He looked up, his eyes searching mine. You're right. I'll talk to her. Lay down some ground rules. But things didn't get better. Linda's visits became more frequent and more invasive. She'd criticize everything from the way I dressed to how we decorated our home. It was like she was looking for any excuse to put me down. Living with Linda's constant scrutiny was like constantly walking on eggshells. You never knew when she would strike next, and her next target was something as mundane as a new washing machine. It was a regular Saturday afternoon. Alex and I were in the living room, enjoying a rare moment of peace, when Linda burst in, her face twisted in suspicion. "I see you've got a new washing machine," she accused, her eyes darting around the room. "Tell me, was it Alex's money that paid for it?" I sighed, feeling the familiar knot of frustration in my stomach. "Linda, it's just a washing machine. And for your information, I paid for it myself." She didn't seem convinced. "With what money?" I find it hard to believe a librarian can afford such luxuries. Alex, who had been quiet until now, stood up. "Mom, Megan has her own income. She can buy whatever she needs." But Linda was relentless. "I want proof. Show me a bank statement or something. I won't have you squandering my son's hard-earned money." I couldn't believe she was serious. But to put an end to her ridiculous accusations, I went and fetched my bank statement. I handed it to her, my hands shaking slightly with anger. "Here, see for yourself. The washing machine was paid for with my money. My savings." Linda scrutinized the statement, her brows furrowed. After a moment, she looked up, her face still a picture of disbelief. "Well, I suppose this looks in order, but keep in mind, I'm watching. My son's well-being is my priority." Alex stepped in, his voice firm. "Mom, this is unacceptable. You can't just barge in here and demand to see our personal finances. It's disrespectful." Linda huffed, her stance unyielding. "Disrespectful? I'm looking out for my son. If that's disrespectful, then so be it." The tension in the air was thick. Alex's face hardened. "Mom, if you can't trust and respect us, then maybe you should reconsider your visits." Linda looked like she had been slapped. "Reconsider my visits? To my own son's house?" Alex nodded. "Yes, until you can behave in a more respectful manner." She stormed out, the door slamming behind her. The silence that followed was heavy with unspoken words. If I thought things with Linda couldn't get worse, I was in for a rude awakening. The real showdown happened the night of Alex's company party. It was supposed to be a big deal for him, and I wanted to make it special. That evening, I dressed in a new evening gown I'd bought just for the occasion. It was elegant, a turquoise that shimmered under the light. I was admiring myself in the mirror when the doorbell rang. Alex was still in the shower, so I went to answer it. Standing there, to my dismay, was Linda, her eyes immediately zeroing in on my dress. Well, isn't that fancy? How much did this little number set Alex back?" I clenched my teeth, trying to keep my cool. "Linda, it's nice to see you. This dress was my purchase, and it didn't set Alex back anything." She walked in, uninvited, her gaze critical. "Surely you don't expect me to believe you can afford a dress like that on a librarian's salary." Before I could respond, Alex came out, looking sharp in his suit. "Mom, what are you doing here?" She turned to him, her tone accusatory. "I was just asking Megan about her dress. It looks expensive." Alex sighed, his expression tired. "Mom, not this again. Megan bought it herself. Can we please not do this tonight?" Linda's eyes narrowed. "I just find it hard to believe, is all. With the way she spends, one would think she's trying to bankrupt you." I was about to retort when suddenly, Linda's hand, holding a glass of cherry juice, accidentally slipped, splashing the juice all over my dress. I gasped, my eyes wide in shock. "Linda, what the hell?" Linda put a hand over her mouth, a fake look of concern on her face. "Oh, dear. How clumsy of me. I'm so sorry, Megan." Alex's face was a mask of anger. "Mom, that was clearly on purpose. What are you trying to do?" She shrugged, her act dropping. "I'm just showing what happens when you live beyond your means. Maybe next time, you'll think twice before buying such extravagant things." I was shaking, rage and humiliation battling inside me. "This is unbelievable, Linda. You've crossed a line." Alex stepped in between us. "That's enough, Mom. You need to leave. Now." As she stormed out, Alex turned to me, his eyes filled with concern. Megan, I'm so sorry. Let me help you clean that up. But the dress was ruined, the bright red stain mocking me from the fabric. I held back tears, the evening spoiled. The incident with the dress was the last straw. Alex and I knew we had to confront Linda, set things straight once and for all. So, we decided to invite her over, hoping to have a civil conversation. Naive, I know. Linda arrived with her usual air of superiority. We sat in the living room, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Alex cleared his throat, starting what we both knew was going to be a difficult talk. Mom, we need to discuss your behavior, he began, his voice steady but firm. Linda raised an eyebrow. My behavior? I'm not the one parading around in expensive dresses, am I? I bit my lip, trying to keep my cool. Linda, this isn't about the dress. It's about respect, boundaries. You can't just barge into our lives, make accusations, and ruin our things. She scoffed. Oh, please. You make it sound like I'm some tyrant. I'm just concerned about my son's well-being. Alex interjected. Mom, what you did to Megan's dress was unacceptable. And your constant questioning of our finances, it's invasive and disrespectful. Linda folded her arms, her expression unyielding. Invasive? Disrespectful? I'm your mother, Alex. It's my right to know where your money is going, especially when it's being wasted on frivolities. That's when she dropped the bombshell. In fact, I think it's only fair that if you buy something for Megan, you should buy something of equal value for me. After all, I am your mother. I stared at her in disbelief. Are you serious? That's ridiculous. Alex was just as stunned. Mom, that's an absurd demand. We're not going to do that. Linda's face turned red with anger. Absurd? I gave birth to you, raised you, and this is the thanks I get? You choosing this woman over your own mother. Alex stood up, his anger palpable. This isn't about choosing, Mom. It's about fairness, respect. Megan is my wife, and you can't treat her like this. Linda stood up too, her voice rising. Fine. If that's how you want it, then don't expect any help from me when you need it. Don't come crying to me when this marriage falls apart because you're too blind to see what's going on. With that, she stormed out, leaving a trail of bitterness and shock in her wake. Alex and I sat there, stunned. The ultimatum she had given us was not just outrageous, it was hurtful. Alex put his head in his hands. I can't believe she said that. I don't know what to do. I reached over, taking his hand. We'll figure this out, Alex. But we can't give in to her demands. That's not how this works. He nodded, a look of determination in his eyes. You're right. We can't let her control us, dictate our lives. It's not fair to you, to us. Just when I thought things couldn't get any more strained with Linda, the universe decided to throw us another curveball. It all started on our anniversary. Alex surprised me with a beautiful diamond ring worth $10,000. It was more than just a piece of jewelry, it was a symbol of our love, something precious and personal. A week after the anniversary, Linda decided to pay us an unexpected visit. She walked in as if nothing had happened, as if her last visit and the ultimatum hadn't left a bitter taste in all our mouths. Hello, Megan, Alex, she said, her voice dripping with a forced sweetness. I just thought I'd drop by, see how you're both doing. I exchanged a wary glance with Alex. We're fine, Linda. What brings you here? She wandered around, feigning interest in the mundane, but her eyes were scanning, always scanning. It wasn't until she noticed the ring on my finger that her facade cracked. Oh, what's this? She reached for my hand, her fingers cold against my skin. A new ring? Looks expensive. Alex, who had been silent, spoke up. It's an anniversary gift, Mom. Linda raised an eyebrow. Really? Must have cost a pretty penny. I hope you're not dipping into your savings for this. I pulled my hand away, feeling a surge of anger. It's none of your business, Linda. She shrugged, but her eyes lingered on the ring with a gleam that I didn't like. The next day, the unthinkable happened. The ring was gone. I turned the house upside down, but it was nowhere to be found. Panic and suspicion gnawed at me. There was only one person who could have taken it. I called Alex, my voice shaking. The ring is gone. I can't find it anywhere. There was a pause, and then, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" "Linda," we both said in unison. Alex decided to confront her. He called her, his voice a mix of anger and disbelief. "Mom, did you take Megan's ring?" Her laughter on the other end was like ice. "Oh, Alex, really? Why would I take her ring? You're being ridiculous." But there was something in her tone, a hint of mockery, that made my blood boil. "We'll go to the police, Linda. This is theft." Her laughter continued, unfazed. "Go ahead. You have no proof. It's your word against mine." We were at a loss. The ring was gone, and with it, a piece of our happiness. But then, a few days later, George called. "Alex, your mom's not well. She's hurt her hand. She won't go to the hospital, but I think she should." We rushed over, and there she was, her hand bandaged, tears in her eyes. But it wasn't just pain, there was fear there too. "What happened, Linda?" Alex asked, his voice softening despite everything. She mumbled something about a fall, but when she moved her hand, I saw it. The diamond ring was on her finger, stuck, her finger swollen around it. We had to take her to the hospital. The ring had to be removed under local anesthesia. It was a surreal experience, watching the doctors carefully extract the symbol of our love from the finger of the woman who had caused us so much pain. The whole ring fiasco had pushed us to our limits. Linda, even after the hospital incident, didn't seem to get the gravity of her actions. It was like she was living in her own world, where she could do no wrong. Alex and I were fed up. It was time for a final showdown. We called her over, making it clear this wasn't a friendly visit. When she walked in, there was this arrogance about her, like she still owned the place. "Sit down, Mom. We need to talk," Alex said, his voice hard. She rolled her eyes, taking a seat. "What now? More accusations?" I couldn't believe her nerve. "Accusations? Linda, you stole from us. And you act like it's nothing?" She shrugged, a smirk on her face. "Oh, come on. It was just a ring. No need to make such a big deal out of it." Alex slammed his hand on the table, his patience running thin. "Just a ring? You broke our trust, Mom. You've been nothing but trouble since Megan and I got married." Linda scoffed. "Trouble? I'm the victim here. You've changed, Alex. This woman has changed you." That did it. I was seething. "This woman has a name, Linda. And I'm sick of your crap. We've been nothing but patient with you, but you just keep pushing and pushing." Alex nodded, his expression stern. "We're at the end of our rope, Mom. We're not going to sit back and let you walk all over us. That ring stunt? We could go to the police with that." Linda's face fell a bit at that. "You wouldn't dare." "Try us," I shot back. "You need to change your attitude, Linda, or else we're done. No more visits, no more calls. Nothing." She looked at us, finally realizing we meant business. "You're bluffing." Alex stood up, his decision clear. "No, we're not. This is your last chance, Mom. Shape up, or we're cutting you out of our lives." Linda stood too, her face a mix of anger and disbelief. "Fine. If that's how you want it, then have it your way. But don't come crawling back to me." With that, she stormed out, slamming the door behind her. Alex and I just sat there, the silence heavy. In the weeks that followed, we stuck to our word. No calls, no visits. It was tough, especially on Alex, but it was necessary. We needed peace, a break from the constant drama and disrespect. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was the right one. We had to protect our marriage, our sanity. And sometimes, that meant making tough choices, even if it hurt.